Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Delta Center. This is Dan Roberts, the inside voice of the Utah Jazz. This evening, we pay tribute to a Utah Jazz man and his family as he bids farewell to the Jazz, to his fans, and to the NBA. It has been my pleasure to introduce Stock during his 19-year career approximately 900 times. In addition, I've had the privilege of watching him become the very finest player at his position to ever play the game. Thank you, John, for giving me the privilege of watching and talking about you for all these years. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the voice of the Utah Jazz, Hot Rod Hundley.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Delta Center, the John Stockton salute, and we welcome KJazz TV covering this event around the great state of Utah. You've heard so many things about John. I just want to run through a few of the highlights. First of all, in his career, he scored 19,713 points with the Jazz. He had 15,806 assists. He had 3,265 steals. In 17 of his 19 years, he did not miss a game. He has 2 gold medals from the Olympics. You are going to hear from a lot of people and a lot of nice things said about John Stockton. I want to tell you a couple of stories about the funny side of this guy. He is a prankster. The Utah Jazz have their own airplane, and after every game that the Jazz play on the road, we leave following the game. John gets on the bus. He's never late. He's waiting and waiting with all of us. And most of the time, it's Karl Malone that's the last guy to get on the bus. While we're all on this bus, John will yell out at Coach Jerry Sloan and say, "Hey, Coach, we don't need a mailman. Let's go, man. We can win without him." Unbelievable. We don't need him. Let him get his own airplane. At about this time, here comes Karl on the bus. And John says, "Hey, Karl, all the guys wanted to leave you." I said, "We're not going anywhere without the mailman." Another quick story, every time the Jazz would play in Canada and win, back when the Memphis team was in Vancouver, and of course Toronto, and every time we would win, once again we get on the bus, and on the way to the airport, John would sing the Canadian national anthem. He knows every word of it. Unbelievable, and the bus driver's ears are burning. Okay, let's move on with the program. I call your attention to the Cricket Super Screen highlights of 19 years of John Stockton.
The Utah Jazz select John Stockton of Gonzaga University.
I'd like to say that I'm very excited at the possibility of playing with the Utah Jazz.
Starting guard line, number 12 and 6'1" from Gonzaga, John Stockton.
To the middle of Stockton. Stockton right side of Malone. Slammed up. The ball man. Malone.
And on the given ball, there he is. Number 28 for that man.
Now Thompson with a screen, Magic left to right, Magic to the alley, stripped away, Stockton. And Alvaroni's got it, to Stockton, to the mailman, he's there, slam dunk, Karl Malone. Driving down the middle, Buck Johnson, his pass picked off by Stockton, his 9th steal of the game. It's good, that's it, Stockton the assist, that's the new record, John Stockton.
He gets it inside to Bailey for the stuff at 5 seconds to go.
How about that, huh? I got a tear in my eye. I've said it many a time, I'll say it again. He's the greatest point guard that ever played the game, in my opinion. Karl sets the screen, Stock left to right, rolls to Karl. He's under, slamming in with the left hand. Oh, what a play. Stockton on the yo-yo, taking right, going left. Can he get away, he'll back it out. Nice feet under the mailman, what a pass. He scores from there. Back to the alley, 2 seconds on the shot. Fakes left for Clark, gets it away. Score in the bucket. Stockton with the ball, front court left. He looks to Karl Malone. He's got him low. The mailman jumps it. Shot up. It's in. He did it. He did it. John Stockton to Karl Malone. A new NBA assist king, John Stockton. The crowd going crazy. Inside low left, Eric Williams. Stockton steals. There it is. Stockton stole the ball. Stockton stole the ball. He's the all-time leader in the history of the game.
Stockton gets the hand on it. Look at the pass. Look at that. John Stockton. He just put his signature on this game.
And Stockton has been the man here in the fourth quarter.
Stockton down the middle. Left side of Malone for the layup. Score it. Stockton drives. Put it up. It's good. Stockton. John Stockton.
John Stockton has an enormous shot to bring the Giants within two.
Stockton, open three. Yeah! John Stockton sends the Utah Jazz to the NBA Finals.
Stockton behind the back dribble. Drive it over to Karl, to the hoop. Hammer dunk. Stockton to Malone. That's their ever-loving best. Stockton wide left, parallel with a free throw line. Karl Malone rolls. He's got it. Hammer dunk. Stockton to Malone. Stockton down the left side. Cross court to Mailman. Hammer dunk. Karl Malone. Oh, baby. You gotta love it. Stockton front court. Stockton underneath the Karl. He's alone. Score the bucket. Stockton left to right. Stockton to the trailer. Karl down the alley. Scoop it. Score it. Stockton across the court. Underneath the Karl. Great pass.
Game 4 of the NBA Finals with the Bulls up 2 games to 1. And Jordan is on court. Stockton fires down on the line.
John Stockton, you work on this pass your whole life. Stockton, normally so stoic. He says, yeah. 2, 3. Give him a pogo stick out there.
Stockton behind his back and the dish to Malone. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen.
Hang on, Stockton will take you for a ride to the wire. 5 seconds left. Stockton drive. Stockton to the hoop. Put it up. It's good. Stockton with 1 second left. Timeout, Denver. Streak off of here and go down the side. They do. Stock's got it. He's got running room. Stockton drive. Hang it up. It's good. The Jazz win it. The Jazz win it. I can't believe it. The Jazz win it. Stockton drive left. Go to the hoop. Shovel it up. Tipped him on the ball, and he didn't touch it. It went in. It went in. Stockton wins the game. Wait a minute. Hold the phone. The ball went in. They count it. They count it. John Stockton. The Jazz win the game. It's over. It's over. 9 seconds left. 8. Stockton right side. Three-pointer. It's good. He did it. He did it. The Jazz win the game.
Stockton on the turn for the win. An incredible play by an incredible player.
Stockton drives right side. Three-pointer. He got it. He got it. The Jazz win the game. The Jazz win the game. How about it? John Stockton at the basket. Stockton a midcourt. Malone the screen. Stockton goes right side. He's open. He'll take it for 20. Got it. Stockton hits it. Jazz take the lead. 7/10 of 1 second left in the game.
Russell will inbound at half court. Stockton, open three. Good! John Stockton sends the Utah Jazz to the NBA Finals.
What a great moment for the Utah franchise. Their proudest moment ever.
Here comes Johnny.
I don't know how he did this. He was falling down, and he managed to control the basketball and get it to Eaton.
Unbelievable. Stockton looking for Karl Malone. They hold up the mailman. Now they got him underneath. Hammered up. Stockton Malone. Jazz run. Stockton puts it up and in. What a shot. Count it. He's fouled.
It's not the end of the world. A lot of this is about the journey, and I know that's not my line or anything like that. I know people have said it before me, but all you can do is prepare your best and lay it all out there. There's I'm sure people that have won championships that haven't had to work very hard at it, and we've worked very hard and haven't done it, and yet I feel a lot of reward out of the effort that it took to compete for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege for the final time to introduce number 12 at 6'1" out of Gonzaga. Wow. Incredible moment. Incredible moment. We thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, he has his family with him here tonight. Across the way, his lovely wife, Nada Stockton, the Bear presenting flowers. He has his children here as well. All right, Bear. His children, Houston, Michael, David, Lindsay, Laura, and Samuel. Stand up, guys. Nada Stockton and John's family. And now, to get the program started, we'll call up the president of the Utah Jazz, Dennis Haslam. Dennis?
Thank you, Rod. You know, we receive fan mail for our players every day of the year. Sometimes it comes in large bags. We received a special letter today that I'd like to share with you that came in today's mail. It's dated June 6, 2003. It's addressed to Mr. John Stockton, Salt Lake City, Utah. Dear John, congratulations on your retirement from the National Basketball Association. Your remarkable career serves as a tribute to your hard work and dedication. As the NBA's all-time leader in assists and steals, you have set the standard for those who play the game of basketball. I know how proud your family, friends, and teammates are of your record of accomplishments. Laura joins me in sending our best wishes to you and your family. Sincerely, George W. Bush. Hot Rod.
Wow. It's our privilege now to have the First Lady of Utah, Jacqueline Levitt, Salt Lake City Mayor Rocky Anderson, and Salt Lake County Mayor Nancy Workman. To pay salute to John Stockton.
We have a proclamation. Are you ready? From the people of the state of Utah. Whereas John Stockton announced his retirement May 2nd, 2003, making the end of his career with the Utah Jazz, and whereas he has played for 19 years and holds the league record for the most seasons with the same franchise, there's more. Whereas John Stockton possesses an irrefutable reputation for excellence and an intrepid ability to meet every challenge with strength and determination, and whereas he is the NBA's all-time leader in steals and assists, accruing a total of 3,265 steals and 15,806 assists over his career. He also holds the record for most seasons leading the league in assists and most assists in a single season. Over his career, he has accounted for 19,711 points. I'm going to cut just a little bit out to make it short. Whereas on the basketball court, he has proven himself agile, steady, always dependable, delivering one outstanding performance after another, always maintaining his unique intensity and fortitude. And whereas he's recognized as one of the 50 greatest players in NBA history, he is also a 10-time NBA All-Star. The 1993 All-Star Co-MVP and a two-time men's basketball Dream Team member, earning 2 Olympic gold medals. Jazz, with great admiration, we recognize and honor this sports hero, soon to be sports legend. So now, therefore, I, Michael O'Levitt, Governor of the state of Utah, who happens to be in Washington, D.C., and so I get this privilege, we do hereby declare June 7th, 2003 as John Stockton Day in Utah.
John Stockton, you have been absolutely amazing. Game after game, season after season, for 19 years. There's not a lot in this world that we can count on with consistency, but John, for 19 years, we could always count on you. Before Salt Lake City hosted the 2002 Winter Olympic Games, you brought Olympic gold home twice. When we hosted the All-Star Game here at the Delta Center, you and Karl Malone made the most amazing, magical memories for us in basketball history when you were both voted co-MVPs of that All-Star Game. You know, I'll tell you, the phrase Stockton to Malone took on particular significance that incredible day. And you helped lead the Utah Jazz to the finals for the first time in history. And John Stockton, you did it all, making us feel like we were important to you. Well, a lot of other athletes have come and gone. John, you remain committed to Utah, you remain committed to your loyal fans, and you hung in there. You stayed with the same team here in Salt Lake City for 19 years. And you can tell you're well loved for that. As a father, I'm so grateful for the way that you've been a role model for so many of our young people. We don't have a lot of great role models sometimes, but the example that you set, showing our youth the importance of hard work, of tenaciousness. And man, were you ever tenacious out on that basketball court, and your commitment to the standard of excellence. That's something our young people will always be able to look up to, and thank you for that. As mayor, I'm very proud to present to you today the key to Salt Lake City. Please, let this always reflect our gratitude for everything you have done. Through your remarkable accomplishments, through your hard work, through your dedication, through your unassuming example, you've already won the key to our hearts. Now I'm pleased to give you the key to our city. Thank you, John.
Thank you. What an honor. What an absolute honor. I know you're dying. I know this is not your thing. I guess that's what I admired a lot one of the things I admire the most about you. You just wanted to play basketball, and the media was the hardest thing on you. You have taught us all so much, and as mayor of the county, you have brought inspiration about how we should struggle through the difficulties and fight to the very end, and you've inspired us to be the best we could possibly be. Your inspiration has gone past the basketball court. Your inspiration, as you can see with all these people that have showed up on very short notice to honor you, you have inspired us in our daily lives to be the best that we can be. I'm going to make this short. I'm not real good at this either, but I'm going to give you a little gift as Salt Lake County Mayor. And then we have a very special gift, a very special thing that we're going to do. At the front door of Delta Center on 3rd West is now going to be named Stockton.
We're very excited to have with us tonight to honor John, the commissioner of the National Basketball Association, who just flew in from San Antonio. Would you welcome Mr. David Stern?
The statistics don't need repeating. Let me tell you a little commissioner's perspective here. When Sam Battistone was crazy enough to tell us he wanted to move the team to Salt Lake City, where we scratched our head. And when Larry Miller decided that this was going to be the little engine that could, he warmed our hearts. And when he built this building, saying that this franchise would be here forever, it was a sight to behold. And no one has done more to make this franchise, the pride of the NBA, than John Stockton. I became commissioner in 1984. It was not until 1990 that I learned that Stockton to Malone was not one word. And when you talk about our internationalization, there's a generation of kids around the world that learned how to play basketball, and I do mean basketball, from Stockton to Malone. So on behalf of really the Board of Governors of the NBA, the soon-to-be 30 teams in the NBA, the millions of fans, literally millions and millions of fans around the world who have seen you play and come to understand our game through you, thank you. Everybody's giving you a present tonight, so let me say the editors of NBA Entertainment are working on the director's cut of John Stockton, all 182 playoff games, the set of CDs. And with deference to that series, that is going to be masterpiece theater. And John, let me say to you, thank you for gracing our court. And if you change your mind, you don't have to give the CDs back. So, and if you don't change your mind, please invite me to the Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
The commissioner did that pretty well. Stockton Malone. Hey, this guy played for two coaches in his 19 years. Frank Layden from 1984 through 1988, or part of 1988. And Jerry Sloan has taken over all the way to here, at the end of 2003. And Jerry in his 16th year, starting next season, the longest tenured coach of any sport, in professional sports in the United States. We're going to take now, there he is down here. We'll wait for Jerry. First, we're going to get a tribute to John on our video screen from his first head coach, Frank Layden.
John Stockton retiring? You gotta be kidding me. He's still one of the best around. John, I'm just fooling. I want to congratulate you on a wonderful career. You've been exciting and you've been good for the city of Salt Lake. You've been wonderful for the NBA. And now life goes on. You know, I don't think of you as retiring. I think of you as graduating. In other words, you're going on to bigger and better things. And I know that you're going to do them very well. So from Barbara and I to you and Nader and your family, we wish you the best of luck. And we're still going to be around. Let's have dinner one of these days. Congratulations, son. You are the best.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the head coach of the Utah Jazz, Jerry Sloan.
Some 19 years ago when we first came here, it was Frank's assistant coach and Scotty Layden were here. I think back to this guy. He was riding coach, trying to save money. He was staying in a one-room apartment to try to save money. He didn't think he was going to be here. I think back of that about a lot because the work that he put in to play this game, the way he approached the game, is second to none. He had a unique ability that is unbelievable to try to describe. I can't describe it, but his ability to be able to play. When he first started, he was wound up like a spring, getting ready to explode. I still think he has that today. John, we thought you were going to play forever, and we wish you were able to. We want to thank you for allowing us to be your coach. It's our coaching staff has been blessed to have the players that we have and have your leadership. It's been an unbelievable run. I really thought you were going to be able to go forever. And I wish you well. In our minds, you'll always be there forever because of what you represented and the way you, when you walked in the locker room for 19 years and see this guy sit in the locker room prepare for a game. From a coaching standpoint, or from anyone's standpoint that wants to succeed, he never changed in 19 years. His preparation is, again, unbelievable to play. And it was always amazing to me that he was able to keep that right up till he came in the last day and said, looks like he's the end of the rope. I hated to hear that, but life goes on. And from our coaching staff, we would like to wish you nothing but the best, John, you and your family. And don't forget about us.
Jerry always said when people ask him, "How come you didn't take a timeout during the fourth quarter?" And John's on the floor, and he would say, "Hey, I got a smarter guy on the court than I am. I don't need to call a timeout." He was speaking of John. Of course, he was only doing that humorously, but he has been a great coach for John, and John loved him all the way. Okay, it's time now for it to bring out a giant jersey, number 12. We have 6 longtime season ticket holders to make this presentation. And this jersey has been signed by a lot of fans throughout the Wasatch Front. Oh, number 12. That'll be presented to John. That's Mark Eaton's old jersey, by the way. Okay. The next gentleman we want to bring up here, John played with 204 people throughout his 19 years in his career, but none like this man. They redid the pick and roll. They have absolutely made the game of basketball great in this great state of Utah, in particular here in Salt Lake City. Between the two of them, they have scored 56,000 points. The second leading scorer in the history of the game. The mailman, Karl Malone.
First of all, I don't want to. I would like to, first of all, say thanks for coming out to support Stock. And, I just want to say that the very first time that I met John, I try to tell some interesting story, and I get on with it. They say a 4-minute time limit, but that what I have to say to Stockton, and I do call him Stockton, I never call him John, so have been all my life. First of all, I would like to say that I hope that the people in the NBA and in Utah really appreciate what this man is all about. And it's kind of interesting how people read into things. I hope this day would have never came. I think Stockton is about as stubborn as Coach Sloan and myself, and I think that's why we got along so well. I can remember like yesterday that I met Stock for the first time. It was like fate. We was at the Olympic training facility, which was the hardest part of my basketball life. And Stock would say the same thing. I think by the second day we was hoping to get cut so we can go home. But the very first time I met John Stockton, we was going through the lunch line, and he picked up his tray 50 players before me, and I picked up my tray 50 players later, and it was one table sitting in the center of the auditorium where we was eating. And we met at this table for the very first time. And I never had been much on basketball, but I followed Gonzaga. Besides that, they got a decent last name too. They were the Bulldogs, and so was Louisiana Tech. So. That was the first time I met John. And no one else sit at this table but Stockton and myself. And the first thing he said was, "Where you from?" I said, "Louisiana Tech." He said, "All right, where's that at?" And I said, "Ruston, Louisiana." He said, "Well, I still don't know where that's at." And I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "Gonzaga." I said, "Okay, where is that at?" So that was our first conversation. And then I think the rest is history. I would like to say to John, he taught me more than the game of basketball. He taught me things as a person that will follow me the rest of my life. I'm from I promised Stock that I would never share this with anyone. But I have to tell a quick story, well, 2 or 3, because I have to do this like this, and no disrespect to the other speakers. I'll ride back from Sacramento, California. There was one other person in my life that I always said that if I had the opportunity to say something to him, I would. And I never got that opportunity. And that was my grandfather, and he passed away. And I said there would be another person in my life that I would like to say things to. So before the game even started, we were sitting beside each other in the locker room like we always do, except here at home. But on the road, we sit right beside each other. Here at home, he sit in one corner, I sit in another. Before the game, I said, Stock, no matter what happened, I said, I would like to talk to you on the plane ride back home, no matter what. And he said, okay. So get on the plane and I go back. And he move his bag and he sit back. And I had to say something to him that made me the person I am today. And everyone want to know what that is. So it's the appropriate time that I want to say it to you and Nada and your family. Again, I came from the South. In the South, it's colors. With Stockton, he helped me get through that. I came to Utah from a little town in Louisiana. And I came here with a lot of doubt. Being a kid from the South, coming to Utah, and I met John Stockton. From day one, he never saw color. And to be honest with you, John, growing up in Louisiana, my mom tried to teach us right and wrong. But when I got here and I met you, and I met your family, you didn't see that. You helped me become the person, not the athlete, not the color. We've had our debates, which I love. And I won't go into those. But I will say here, in front of everybody, I want to make one apology to you. I never thought you would ever stop playing ball. I thought you would play forever. A number of days, a number of games, I did take you for granted. Because I knew when the going got tough, the number 12 would always cinch it up a notch. And I know it's tough now, it's corny, but I love you. I love what you stand for. And a lighter side, I spent time in Arkansas. Stock spent time in Spokane. We don't talk a lot in this summer, but I walk past my exercise machine, 8:30 to 9 at night, or 5:30 or 6 in the morning. And I say to myself, I clean it up. I walk by this machine and I say, you know what? That little son of a gun is working out right now. So what I do, I go in my house and I change. And I start my own little private race with you. And it have never failed on our ride back from Sacramento, he said, "Do you know what I used to do? I used to walk by my bike on my treadmill." And I said, "That son of a gun is working out." And he would go change and do that. So I just want to say in closing that unfortunately in life, when it's time to say goodbye, we're always saying hello. And I hope and I pray that people here realize a couple things. It would absolutely, positively, never, ever be another John Stockton. Ever. So I would like to tell the fans one thing. He gave me more than I gave him. And I want to say this on behalf of my family to your family. We love you, and I'm going to miss you as I'm going to miss you as a person. So, thank you, and I love you, man.
The mailman. Ladies and gentlemen, the next gentleman needs no introduction. He's one of the biggest fans that John has ever had since he bought the team back in the mid-'80s. He absolutely loves him. Would you welcome the owner of the Jazz, Larry H. Miller.
Well, first of all, I need to thank a few people. I've been asked, I think, 10 or 12 times already tonight how it was that I was able to talk John into coming and doing this tonight. And I had to confess that it really wasn't me that talked him into it. It was Nada. And I just kind of got in at the tail end. I also have to thank all of the employees of both the Utah Jazz and K-Jazz TV and the Delta Center. They've been working so hard on this for a couple of weeks, and they've done such a marvelous job, and I really appreciate all that they've done. In trying to contemplate what to say, I had written a letter that was published on the front page of the 8-page John Stockton special section this morning in the Deseret Morning News, as it becomes on Monday, and the Tribune both. And I'm going to read the contents of that letter to John as my closing remarks, but there's a few things I wanted to share with you as well before I get to that. First of all, I want to talk about David Stern and how appreciative I am of the fact that he came here to celebrate and share this day with us today. A week ago Thursday, I called his office in New York, and I said to his secretary, because David was in a meeting, I said, let me tell you why I'm calling, so that when David calls me back, he can talk about what it is I'm calling about and be prepared. Excuse me. I said to her, we're having this John Stockton event on Saturday the 7th. I know he will be in between games 2 and 3 of the finals, game 2 being in San Antonio, Game 3 being in New Jersey, and as we all know, from San Antonio to New Jersey is not coming through Salt Lake is not a straight line. So I left that information with her, said we'd love to have him. I know it's a long shot. Friday morning, first thing, I got a call from David. The very first words out of his mouth were, "Of course I'll be there." I said to him, "Boy, I really appreciate that. I know what a sacrifice it's got to be trying to get from San Antonio to New Jersey, coming to Salt Lake on the way." His response was, "I will just do one of my famous all-night flights." And I said, "Okay, but again, I'm really appreciative. Thank you for coming and the decision you've made." And he said, "Larry, you do realize that we're talking about John Stockton, don't you?" That in itself was a terrific compliment to John for the commissioner to handle that the way he has, and I appreciate it. And I think John does too. When I speak at in different gatherings, one of the questions I get asked a lot is, what is John Stockton really like? And my answer that I answer every time I get asked the question is, that's simple. He's exactly how you hope he is. I also get asked on occasion what single word I think best describes John Stockton. When I first got asked that question some years ago, I gave an almost instantaneous answer, but even with the intervening years, I don't think I would change the answer I gave to the question, which was thoroughbred. Quite a bit has been made about the records that he has established, the numbers that he's generated during his career, but there's two things that I want to highlight that haven't been touched on yet. And one of them you would have no way of knowing unless you were in a party of two, that was John and I. On the night that he got his 10,000th assist, I had the privilege of giving him the game ball in the first time out after that occurred. And as I handed the ball to him, I said to him, if I were you, John, I think I'd go for 15,000. And I handed him the ball, and he looked at me almost incredulously and said, "Are you nuts?" Now, recall the number 15,806. In the entire history of the NBA, there have been 9 separate seasons when an NBA player had 1,000 or more assists. In 1978 and 79, Kevin Porter of Philadelphia did it. In 1984 and 85, Isaiah Thomas of the Detroit Pistons did it. John Stockton did it 7 times. During the video, John made some really interesting remarks. I hope you listened to them. But one of them was when he was talking about how hard that he and so many others on the Jazz team had to work and not won a championship. And he noted also how some had not worked too particularly hard, just had been along for the ride and had a championship ring. But then he said, all you can do is prepare your best and lay it all out there. John, you laced them up 1,504 times, and you laid it all out there 1,504 times. This is a day that we always knew would come, but always hoped wouldn't. As I conclude, as I mentioned at the beginning of my remarks, I'm going to read the words that I wrote to John and was aided substantially in editing by my wife Gail and my secretary Marilyn. And if you read the front page of the 8-page section today, you'll see this, along with a picture of Carl and Jeff and John rejoicing after the Houston shot. It's entitled Glimpses of Perfection. On rare occasions, onto the stage of our lives, comes a person of such character, of such constancy, and of such skill in his or her chosen craft that any and all who care to observe are truly in awe of the performance and characteristics of that person. For those of us who call ourselves John Stockton fans, and we are legion, such a persona is John Stockton. Descriptions of what make you special are numerous, but to try to define your greatness in total seems to be somewhat of a futile exercise. To define you in terms of statistics, your longevity as the premier point guard in the history of the NBA, your mental and physical toughness, or the competitive fires that burn within you seem at first like an achievable pursuit. But when one observes you up close, as I've been blessed to do, that wasn't in the paper, and in an historical perspective, one begins to understand that defining individual elements of John Stockton is one thing, but to define you in total is likely unachievable. Even though you disdain rhetoric of this type regarding yourself, we would hope that you would indulge us somewhat in thanking you for giving us something so special for so long and with such consistency, style, and grace. On an NBA basketball court, thousands of times during your career, you gave us glimpses of perfection. One of your teammates who had played on numerous teams around the NBA was once asked what he thought John Stockton's greatness was. Without hesitation, he answered, "That's easy. He always gets the ball exactly where it's supposed to be, exactly when it's supposed to be there." Although you would undoubtedly disagree with the aforementioned statement because you're your own toughest critic, the record shows that at the very least, you did it longer, better, with more consistency, albeit more quietly, than anyone who ever played the game of basketball. For this, we thank you, John. You taught us what we can become if we work hard, pay attention to our lessons, and never give up. Our admiration for you does not stop with ourselves. It transcends generations. We want our children and grandchildren to understand and adopt the qualities that make you great: perseverance, focus, hard work, humility, no excuses, accepting responsibilities for one's own actions, all encompassed by integrity. So it is that you've chosen to leave the game you've loved so much. And we've loved to watch you love. For 19 incredible years, you've said it's just time. The Utah Jazz, the Delta Center, and the state of Utah will never be the same. But one thing is certain: our lives are better because you were in them. Thank you for teaching us about the nobility of the human spirit. Thank you for the glimpses of perfection you gave us all. We understand somewhat the tuggings you feel to go home to Spokane, but if we were to vote, it likely would be unanimous. We'd have you stay and live amongst us. Having said that, Godspeed to you and your family and everything you do in your life going forward. May life's richest blessings be yours. You deserve them. Gratefully and with love, Jazz fans everywhere, the Jazz organization and each of its associates, Larry H. and Gail Miller and family.
Now it's time to bring up the mother of John's 6 children, his lovely wife, Nada Stockton, who's had her hands full with Samuel tonight.
Wow, I never thought in my wildest dreams that I'd be standing in front of 20,000 people speaking. I guess I wasn't. That I'd be standing in front of 20,000 people speaking, and that anybody would actually be listening and listening to me. And at home, there's 8 of us, and nobody listens to me. 2, that my palms would be sweaty and my heart would be racing. I owe you an apology, John, for yelling at you during games for missing foul shots. Looking around at all the people, I now realize that you might have been under just a little bit of pressure. I'm getting an idea of what that feels like right now. And 3, when I first stepped off that airplane and arrived in Utah so many years ago, that I would still be here today, having made Salt Lake City my home, and that I would have 6 beautiful children who were all born and raised here. You all have opened your arms and embraced us from the start. What a great feeling. I speak to you today as a fan and also as having seen John's career from a different perspective, that of his wife and mother to his children. As a fan, I have enjoyed every minute of basketball that I have watched in the Salt Palace and in the Delta Center. How the Jazz coaches and players have presented and carried themselves is a tribute to the Utah Jazz organization. The importance of teamwork, working together, winning and losing, and what can be taken from each and used in a positive way has been seen on the hardwood each night, and is the reason why I have taken my family to the games. These are the lessons that my children have learned sitting in Section 5, Row 11 in the Delta Center. As a fan, I thank you. As a wife, thank you to all the Utah Jazz employees for never making me feel like I was just a player's wife. You have been so helpful and generous. To the Delta Center employees who have greeted us for every home game, your waves, smiles, and kindness were greatly appreciated and will never be forgotten. To everyone in the international room, thank you for feeding the whole Stockton clan. You made our jobs much easier. The kids didn't have to clear the table, and I didn't have to do the dishes. I am thankful to Larry and Gail Miller for providing the wives' room, where players, family, and friends could gather, get to know each other, and forge friendships that would last a lifetime. For providing a place where I could change the kids' diapers and put them down for a nap, and where all the kids could play. You have promoted family in this organization, and I am greatly appreciative of that. and to John, who has been a great husband and father. His greatest steal was when he stole my heart, and his greatest assists have been when he has handed each one of our newborn children to me in the hospital. His commitment to me and to each one of our children is never ending. Thank you. As a mother, I think back upon Houston's first game at 6 weeks old in the Salt Palace with his little red tennis shoes. All the trips up and down the stairs to change diapers, the potty training years, the kids getting water from the bench and getting gum from TC. I have washed more clothing with gum in the pockets than they could have ever possibly chewed. And that is because TC couldn't give one piece of gum to the kids. He had to give them the whole pack. I think back to the bear involving the kids in his skits, hitting the refs with blow-up bats. Well, maybe they deserved it. And Michael, at 8 years old, wearing Greg Ostertake's shoes, racing the bear, and all the silly string that landed in our rope because the kids had talked the bear into spraying them just one more time. David's ear-to-ear grin when Carl gave him his wristband. Lindsay and Laura dancing in their seats, and the look of excitement on their faces when they realized they were on the Jumbotron. And the look on Samuel's face when he took his first steps on the Delta Center floor. I am thankful to the fans who made the beautiful baby blankets, not just once, but 6 different times. My children have been warm and safe, cuddled in them at night. To the fans who didn't mind the popcorn in their hair, the spilled drinks, and the constant kicking on the back of their chairs, thank you. Thank you to my children, Houston, Michael, David, Lindsay, Laura, and Samuel, for meeting the challenge every game day. When they were younger, it started out, if you take a good nap, you can go to Daddy's game, and evolved into, if your homework is done, your tests studied for, and your papers written, then you can go to Dad's game. They never let me down. They rose early for school the next day after a late game and came home with work I was proud of. To each one of my boys who reminded me at various times that it was just one missed jumper and to take it easy on Dad. He didn't miss it on purpose. Thanks. God has blessed us with our families, friends, and by bringing us to Utah. When surrounded by good people, good things happen. And that is what has happened here. I thank you for your kindness, generosity, honesty, and loyalty. You have helped shape our lives. You have confirmed what we are trying to teach our children at home, and I will be forever grateful for that. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to bring on the greatest point guard in National Basketball Association history. John Stockton.
Thank you very much. First of all, thanks, Hot Rod. There's no other announcers like you anywhere in the league or in any other league. Great job and thanks. And thanks to all the speakers and presenters for toughing it out and coming up here. All your thoughts are very much appreciated. Again, thanks to all of you for coming out tonight, even if you had to be bribed with hot dogs to do it. After I was drafted back in 1984, I had the chance to meet Frank Layden, and he gave me some sound advice. He said, don't start changing who you are. Don't start growing a beard, changing your hair, wearing jewelry and stuff like that. So I haven't changed a thing. I haven't even changed the length of my shorts. Well, a lot of nice things are being said tonight, and I just want you to know that I'm really not that nice. For example, some of you don't know it, but I was a holdout my very first season. Following the draft, the whole summer progressed on, and the Jazz stuck by their minimum salary, $75,000 a year. That's our final offer. Well, I was a first-round draft choice, and I thought it should be more than that. So I held out a rookie training camp. The Jazz, buckling under the pressure, offered me $80,000. So I was on the next plane the following morning, signed and ready for camp. I was convinced, however, that it would be my one and only year of playing basketball. So as Jerry mentioned, I was very cheap. I found the cheapest one-bedroom furnished apartment in the whole city of Salt Lake. Thurl, you remember this, I never turned the heat on. It is true. I bought cases of my favorite chili from a discount store. I made my mom's lasagna, cut it into portions and put it in the freezer. I used a loaner car, and I made my very first major purchase 4 months later by buying a TV so I could watch the Super Bowl. A lot has happened since then. For example, out of the free agent market, I signed my wife, Nada. She has renewed my contract for the last 16 and a half years, and we have 6 terrific kids I'm proud of. I have played with great teammates, Thurl Bailey, Mark Eaton, Tyrone Corbin, Marcus Ivoroni, Jeff Hornacek, and many, many others, some of whom are here tonight. I've just been very lucky in that regard, so thanks, guys. I've been fortunate enough to play for Jerry Sloan for 15 seasons as a head coach, and even more than that as an assistant. He's a man I greatly admire. Jerry has made it possible for us to be basketball players and then human beings. And in this environment where fame, fortune, and superheroes are promoted, it's been a blessing to just be allowed to come out here and play. Thanks, Jerry. I've also had the opportunity to play 18 years with the best power forward in the history of the game, Karl Malone. He's going to get what he deserves when he has to come up here and do this for himself. But he's a great, great friend of mine, and I'm thankful that we are part of each other's family. Thanks. I've truly been blessed throughout my life. I was born to the best parents a guy could have, Jack and Clemmy Stockton, with great siblings, one of whom's here today, my sister Leanne, but also my brother Steve and sister Stacy. I was fortunate to be born in the great city of Spokane. They supported more activities, tournaments, trips, uniforms, through auctions, raffles. We were always knocking on their door and they never failed us. So it's a great city as well, and I'm thankful for that. My teachers, coaches, and teammates and friends from St. Aloysius Grade School through Gonzaga Prep, through Gonzaga University, have educated and mentored me while confirming the important lessons I learned at home. I'm grateful for that. It seems like I've always been surrounded by good people. Contrary to popular belief, that did not end when I entered the NBA. I've had the good fortune to get to know many people from the NBA offices, the Olympic offices, and even our own Jazz front office. All of these people help create what you get to see on the court every night. They're very, very good people, and they've helped me immensely. Judy, Dave, Jay, just to mention a few. I could not have played for 19 years without quality people in our coaching staff, in the training room, and in our ownership, and in the stands. I've enjoyed all my conversations with Phil, Gordy, and Kenny, and their friendship. I have received timely help from each member of the medical staff and the trainers, including TC, who has taped me for nearly every game and has kept me in shoes and socks throughout my career. In addition, thank you. In addition, this old body could not have lasted this long without the efforts of Steve DeLong at Gonzaga, who has helped prepare me for every season since I was in college. For Greg Roscoff with his knowledge of biomechanics, and especially Craig Bueller, a man with extraordinary healing ability that spent thousands of hours on me to keep me healthy. Finally, we are here because of the courage of one man, Larry H. Miller. Yes. Larry has risked everything on many occasions just to keep us here. From buying the team, to building this beautiful new arena, to chartering airplanes, to building a new practice facility. Larry has made the Utah Jazz a premier organization in the finest city on the NBA trail. I would like to thank Larry and Gail for their commitment to the Jazz, for holding Samuel, and for your commitment to Salt Lake City. Thank you. As for all of you in the stands and at home watching this on TV, thank you for your years of support for our team. Thank you. I have played in empty arenas, and it isn't much fun. We've never done that here. We have always played to a full house, and it has been a blast. I, for one, appreciate you coming to the games, cheering and participating with class, and riding the roller coaster with the team. Thank you. I'm absolutely honored by today's events. I thank God for letting me live in this great country, the United States of America. And for letting my path cross and crisscross with so many of you throughout this journey. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, John Stockton. We love you. We thank you all for coming tonight. An appreciation and saluting John Stockton. Unbelievable. God bless you all. God bless John Stockton. Good night. We'll see you next season. Good night, everybody.